Hey guys, this is Joshua Adept Ape Channel, and in this video we're going to be discussing what your exhaust temperature is telling you about your diesel engine. Now it's the middle of summer, and it seems like this is the hottest summer ever, but I get lots of emails on two things when it's the middle of summer. That is your cooling system and exhaust temperature. Now, what is exhaust temperature versus EGT? EGT is just exhaust gas temperature. They're the same thing. So if I say one, it means the other one. It's also a very complicated subject with a lot of misconceptions around it as to what creates a high EGT or a low EGT. Is there too high? What components can be damaged by if it is too high? And in this video, we're going to be discussing that in detail if I do my job right. So let's get into the topic. First off, let's simplify the topic by narrowing it down to exactly what it is. So what is the exhaust gas temperature, exhaust temperature? It is the temperature of it's not really air, it's a gas coming out of the cylinders and then entering the exhaust system. So this is the temperature in the exhaust ports of the cylinder head, in the exhaust manifold, on the exhaust side of the turbocharger. And then after the turbocharger, it's the exhaust stream that is going through either a muffler or a DPF, or if you're straight piped, just the pipe, until it exits the stack, or if you don't have a stack, when it exits the exhaust system. So we're looking in that specific area. Now the temperature varies, also the pressure varies in which part of the system you're in. The exhaust gas temperature is going to be hottest almost always right out of the cylinder and into the exhaust manifold before the turbocharger, or turbochargers if you have two of them. This also means that under higher pressure, it's going to be hotter and higher pressure before the turbocharger in general. Now, things that can skew that would be, let's say, a DPF system where some engines have an injector, a seventh injector, an ART head that is injecting fuel and then igniting it, or through a catalyst system, increasing the exhaust temperature after the turbocharger hotter than it was before the turbocharger. We're not really focusing on those systems. Those systems would be called your regeneration systems. And those don't really tie in with the subject we're discussing, which is we'll just call them the pre-DPF EGT. That's really what is your engine's telling us about, is the pre-DPF EGT. Because as I just mentioned, the EGT can be affected after a system where it injects fuel into the exhaust. So we're focusing on that section alone. Now, the first thing you need to understand is if you are monitoring your EGT, a lot of trucks don't have what they call a pyrometer. A pyrometer is what measures your EGT. Usually, if they are installed, it's on an older truck or it's been added aftermarket. Now, where it is in the exhaust system is very important to understand. Most pyrometers are added after the turbocharger, on the turbocharger outlet. Is this a good or bad thing? Well, it's not really either. It's just telling you the temperature at a specific point. Now, I already mentioned that the temperature before the exhaust is going to be hotter almost always than after the turbocharger. So having the pyrometer after the turbocharger isn't telling you the full story of how hot your EGT is getting. And the most important and expensive components, of course, are not after the turbocharger, unless you have a DPF system, but we're mainly concerned with the turbocharger itself, the exhaust manifold, the cylinder head, and the exhaust valves, because those are what can get damaged if your EGT is too high. Now, the internal engine components can also be damaged if your EGT is too high, because that's where the temperature is coming from, is out of the cylinders. So that's something to realize as well. However, typically high EGT, they will damage the components out of the cylinder more than inside the cylinder, unless you are also having a cooling system problem, which is causing an overheat inside the cylinder. So now that we've narrowed down what exactly we're talking about, what affects the exhaust temperature? Let's, for theory's sake, have a stone cold engine that has been sitting there overnight and it is 80 degrees outside. The exhaust gas temperature before starting the engine is going to be the same as ambient temperature, right? Right. Now, we're going to be reading the exhaust gas temperature in the normal position where the pyrometer is, so after the turbocharger, and then discussing what's going on. So you start your engine. It's idling, No load yet. The truck's just standing there where you're checking tires and doing your pre-trip. And the temperature is slowly climbing. It's going from 80 degrees Fahrenheit we're discussing here to, let's say, 300 degrees or 400 degrees after the turbocharger. Now, at idle, you really don't have any boost because you're not moving that much air through the engine. Remember, the engine is an air pump, basically, with the piston moving up in the cylinder, and it's moving a volume of air every time it goes up and down in the cylinder. All cylinders are doing this. The faster your RPM, the more air is going through the system. So that's something to realize. Also, that volume of air is what dictates how much pressure is going to be in your exhaust system before the turbocharger and the volume of air that's moving through the exhaust system. So let's just say, for ease sakes, we have 300 degrees. We are now going to start moving the truck. Once you start moving, you're doing work with that engine and you're increasing the engine RPM. And as you increase in speed and load, and by load I mean how much boost this engine is making, how much horsepower and torque it's needing to move this mass, you're having to add more fuel to the cylinders during the combustion process to move this mass to create more power. So that is going to increase your EGT. So where's the temperature increase coming from? Is it coming from the air? No, it's coming from the fuel. You see, air doesn't really have energy in it. It has oxygen, which is very important for combustion, but your diesel fuel is where the heat energy is coming from. And diesels in general run lean, meaning they almost have always more oxygen than they do fuel to burn. That's why you shouldn't, on a newer vehicle, on a newer diesel engine, see black smoke. Black smoke means it's running rich, meaning not enough oxygen for the amount of fuel that's being added to the cylinder. So let's say you are now pulling out of the parking lot, getting going. You're going to be going on a surface street 25 miles an hour. You're running 10 pounds of boost. Your EGT is now climbed from 300 up to, let's say, 600. The engine is warming up, and it's getting to around 200 degrees, which is, let's just say for safe purposes, that's where most diesel engines run, even though some run a little cooler, some run a little hotter. 600 degrees is fine. Now remember, the 600 degrees you're seeing on your pyrometer is after the turbocharger. What's the temperature before the turbocharger in the exhaust manifold? We don't know. You would need a separate pyrometer inside the exhaust manifold, and that one would be more important than the one after the turbocharger. The temperature differential before and after the turbocharger increases as load increases because you have more pressure behind the turbocharger, the heavier the load on the engine. So let's say currently the exhaust manifold temperature is probably 650 or 700 degrees, and then after the turbocharger it's 600. Not a big differential in temperature. Is this damaging anything? No, it's not. And what is the temperature that components get damaged? It's actually hard to say. I actually looked through the CAT system for a very long time. I even looked on QuickServe and couldn't find anything except related to the emission system, where they're discussing what temperature the exhaust system needs to be. If you want to find out what the EGT in the manifold's supposed to be, though, they don't really have a specification. They have oil pressure, fuel pressure, coolant temperature, intake air temperature, pretty much every other pressure and temperature you could think of, there's a specification, but not for your exhaust temperature, which is kind of irritating. So I actually emailed the CAT rep, and he emailed a Caterpillar engineer, and they said the maximum temperature for engine components on CAT engines is about 1400 degrees. So keep that in mind. And that, from my research, is pretty much the max temperature you want to see on any diesel engine. Whether it's a Cummins, Detroit, John Deere, whatever, you don't want to be getting close to 1400 degrees. That is the max. Some might even say 1350 or 1300, but most don't have a specification. So let's get back to our scenario where you're driving your Peterbilt. It's now time to climb a hill. Okay, so as you climb the hill, what's going on in the engine? Well, to move a mass up a hill takes a lot more energy, a lot more torque and horsepower, and a lot more air and a lot more fuel. So what do you think is going to happen to that EGT that was 600 at 10 pounds of boost? It's going to go up there. Now, a truck that's climbing a hill with a high outside ambient air temperature that's when you're going to have the highest EGT. And a lot of times I got an email saying, hey, mine's running 900, or I've been told never to go to 1,000, or you have a problem. Well, what did we just discuss? 1,400 is the upper limit that you really don't want to see. So if you see 1,000 on your pyrometer, you're 400 degrees away, right? Not usually. Like I said, the temperature at the pyrometer is usually after the turbocharger, and it's usually always hotter before the turbocharger. And that scales with boost because you're moving more air and the turbocharger is a restriction. So you can have up to a 200 or 300 degree difference across the turbocharger by itself. So if you see 1,000 on your pyrometer and you're at max boost, we'll say it's a C15 compound turbo system and it's building 50 PSI of boost. You could have 300 degrees higher than that. So you would be close to 1,300, which is not at the absolute limit yet, but that's pretty hot. If it's 115 degrees outside and your coolant temperature is at 215, you're under max load, that's pretty hot. So what can you do to decrease this, or should you try to decrease it? Well, if you know for a fact that you're probably getting close to 1,400 or above 1,300, now there are things you can do. The easiest one, of course, is decreasing the load on the engine itself. Of course, if you're climbing a hill in a loaded truck, that means slowing down, and usually you don't want to do that, or you might be going too slow as it is. So what's another way to decrease your EGT? Well, if your cooling fan's not on, turn it on. It's going to do a couple things. One is it's going to pull a lot of air over the engine. And not only over the engine, over the turbocharger, over the exhaust manifold, which is going to help pull heat out of that exhaust manifold and out of that turbocharger, which should help lower your EGT a little bit. Not only that, it's going to pull air through your charge air cooler and your radiator. The charge air cooler dictates how cool the air is going into the intake stroke on the cylinder. The lower the air temperature going in usually correlates to a lower temperature coming out. So that's good. If you can drop your intake air temperature, usually you're going to see a reduction in EGT. What else can you do? Actually increase the engine RPM. Now this seems counterintuitive, but most diesel engines are most efficient at the lower end of the RPM range. Cat C15, for example, makes maximum torque, which means max efficiency, at around 1,200 RPM, which most people don't run that low, but that's where max efficiency is. That being said, max efficiency usually correlates to a higher EGT. The max horsepower on a Cat is usually around 1,800 RPM. And that is where max horsepower is made. But your EGT is generally lower at that temperature because the engine's slightly less efficient. Also, since it's a 50% increase in RPM, it's moving a much higher volume of air through the engine and not able to really capitalize on how much fuel it's burning. So it's going to run pretty much in a slightly leaner state, which should help drop your EGT. Okay, so we have discussed it pretty thoroughly, as at least how the system works in a normal operating truck. Now, as I mentioned, most trucks don't even have a pyrometer. So unless you're installing one aftermarketly, or if yours already has one, you don't really know what the EGT is. We've already discussed also what can be damaged by high EGT. What though, let's say you do have a pyrometer, and what can affect the EGT that would make it go past 1,400? Let's say there's really two ways this can happen, generally. One is you or someone has messed with that engine. They've installed bigger injectors that are flowing more fuel, or a tuner that's pushing more fuel into the cylinders, pinched off the wastegate, told the ECM that it's 32 degrees outside and it's really 100 degrees outside. And that's going to bump those EGTs up because you are adding more fuel to that system. Also, I mentioned earlier in the video, black smoke is an indication usually of high EGTs because you have unburned fuel entering the exhaust stream, and that usually makes it really, really hot. So that's one instance. Now, what's the other one? Well, you haven't messed with it, but for some reason, your EGT is higher. What engine problems, and that gets back to the base root of this video when I started, what is your EGT telling you about your engine? What problems can cause a high EGT on a stock engine? Well, there's a lot of them, but some of the bigger ones are plugged intake systems. So air filters that need to be replaced. That will cause a restriction in the intake system, which will cause less air, which will cause higher EGTs because the engine will be running more towards the rich side. Plugged exhaust system, whether it's a muffler, a DPF, or a pinch line, anything that's going to restrict that exhaust flow is going to cause a backup of exhaust gases in the exhaust system, which is going to create more heat. You want more air flow through that exhaust system. That generally correlates to lower EGT. So if that's a problem you've had, check your intake, check your exhaust. The engine itself, of course, can have many problems that will affect the EGT. Worn or overfueling injectors, if they're firing at the wrong time or slightly firing too much fuel, that can increase your EGT. Problems with the turbocharger system, whether the turbocharger itself, cracked CAC, leaking boots, things like that will also affect the system. Remember, you want as much fresh air in that engine as possible. What else? Well, this is getting more complicated, but your engine timing. The timing of not only the camshaft timing, which is when your exhaust and intake valves open and close, but also your fuel timing, which on almost all engines now is dictated by the ECM. If that has been either slightly advanced or retarded from where it's supposed to be from the factory setting, that can affect your EGT as well because it's going to cause it to fire at the wrong time. Now, are there things that can affect your timing, whether valve or fuel, that aren't tied to the ECM or the camshaft? Well, your overhead adjustment. If your overhead is too tight or too loose, that can actually throw off your timing a little bit as well. Of course, the cooling system itself also contributes to your EGT because the cooling system is basically what cools the engine as far as the cylinders and the cylinder head. And if it's running hotter, your EGT is going to be slightly hotter too. So if you have a cooling system problem and you think you have an EGT problem, fix the cooling system problem first. This could be a plugged radiator, decaying coolant, a fan that's not turning on or not turning on correctly or at the right RPM. Of course, there are many things that can lead to cooling system problems, but that's one thing to check as well. With that being said, also your fan. If you're missing a shroud or your shroud's damaged and it's not forcing as much air over the manifold, that is going to also increase your EGT. Now, I know there's going to be people out there who said, you know, I've done everything. I've ran the overhead. Everything's stock. Everything's operating properly. It's still my EGT is too high. Well, consider, is the pyrometer reading correctly? Is the pyrometer biased perhaps, or not reading correctly for some reason? Check another pyrometer or a different probe. That's something to check. Also, the ECM itself can be bad and not tell you sometimes, and it can be overfueling or doing the inaccurate timing. Without a check engine light, you may never know. These are a couple things that you might not have thought about, things to check. And almost every system in the engine, even fuel pressure, can affect your EGT. If fuel pressure is too low, it can cause misfiring injectors, and like I already said, misfiring injectors can lead to a high EGT. Hopefully you learn a little bit about this subject. How about a little destruction of the week? This week's destruction of the week, we have a dump truck cab that customer's swapping out. This is the old cab. Windows melted. Interesting. So seat actually was undamaged, but look at that. There's actually a burned out hole through the floor. That must have been pretty exciting. So firewall's damaged. A lot of the wiring's damaged. AC system's damaged. Gives a new meaning to flex fan there. Probably not going to run that fan. What was the culprit? Battery cables. The battery cables run under the cab, wore through the conduit, and shorted out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.